Here we are, first part of September. Labor Day was last weekend. That means that it's model train season. It's starting to ramp up. And the best part is that my writers have agreed to their new contract. So now we've got yet another season of fantastic content that these guys all put together for us. Yeah. I decided to start this season off with going back to one of the golden oldies, the old Athearn blue boxes. We got some switchers here. The SW-7's or the SW-1500's. We're going to go over that. I'll tell you how you can tell what they are and why they are and what happened, why there's such a confusion. And it's a cow-calf pair. It's a powered cow-powered calf pair. Makes it even neater. These showed up here in the inventory. We're going to get them running, give you some information about them. Let's get into it. I'm taking a quick look at these things here. Sure. I don't think that they run because I do remember trying to make them run when I first got them. Try to do this one-handed here. Twist into wick. I don't see any amperage. And that's really kind of weird for... Oh my. Okay. They're just... Well, that little feller moved. He needs some lubrication. It sounded like it was a little hard. This calf started to move. Maybe they just need a good cleaning. Let's get inside of him and see what we need to do. But these handrails, this end's good, this end's hammered, and I don't see any areas for where the railings would be at. Because you think you'd have railings like that right here. But apparently they use the same mold. Just popped this little cover on here to replace the cab. Sure. This one's got the railings all the way on it. Hand grabs, yeah. Broken couplers, absolutely. Missing a coupler, yeah. Looks like we get into these the same way as any old other Athearn. Spread it, pull it. What do we got? Oh, Jesus. What the heck is... Oh, somebody's done some customizing to this one. This is the old get rid of that pickup bar and put your own in. And if this comes off like that, I don't know how this light is supposed to work if it's only getting power from one side. Because the frame does it, and... Okay. Interesting. Stuck it up there with some double-sided tape. But this is only half of the circuit right here. What's the inside of this calf look like? Same thing, just no lights. Oh, here it is right here. I didn't see that. But they cut this. So how's the juice supposed to get to the light? My goodness. Sometimes guys do things and it just doesn't help the situation. Not at all. Disc comes off. Okay, that's the top brush holder. So they just soldered onto that. Heat shrunk it. Okay, sure. Let me take that out so that I don't lose it. So we basically got two of the exact same thing here. We don't need to show you how to do it 4 times. We're just gonna do it, we're gonna do it once. I wonder how long my hat has been in that shot. Probably the whole time. I wonder if I should look at that footage and see if it was covering it. I might have to do a reshoot on this. Good news. My hat wasn't covering up the shot. Got these gear tower covers. We want to pop them off. Screwdriver right here. Easy, gentle. Right on the floor. Dang it. I got lucky. Worm gear, driveline. And then I can see that this isn't something new for me. The trucks are usually held in by this. There's usually a couple fingers that come off the front that hold the whole thing in. I see this is a little different. So these are a little more updated than I'm used to. It looks like we're going to squeeze these two right here and it's going to come out. I'm hoping. Yes? Something's happening. Something stopped happening. There. Yep. Oh, that's just the cutest little truck. My goodness. This drive line, it just pops off. This little adapter, this guy, universal joint. This part, it goes into that part. That is just absolutely darling. The other half looks like it's going to be a little harder to work on because this headlight thing has got to be in the way. Because engineers hate you. Carefully pry up under here. Come on. Yes, a little more. There it is. Roll it off. Get that part out. Squeeze those two tabs right here, right here. And of course the truck is now stuck on that drive line. Ah. Get that part out. Get the truck out. I'm going to mark this one because if you put it in backwards, it'll make the things run a different direction. I believe. I could be wrong. So I'm just going to, this is the dot is going to be the front. These little coupler things here, these black guys, prime off. We're going to put some fresh couplers in there. It looks like it's got those plastic junk ones. We're going to get some Katie's. What's a cat think of these kind of couplers? That's what I thought. Do I want to pull that motor out? And I'd like to check the ground underneath of it. These little white ones, they could be hard and rigid, and I'll break them, and I can't go anywhere else to get new ones, and then my project will stop. Oh, there we go. Yep. These guys only use the one little peg instead of the two. The bottom pickup's got these little curls on it. Lose that. There's a brush. Ooh, nice long one. This doesn't have much service on it. I wonder why it didn't want to run very well. See, these things are flopping in the wind right now because the brush holders is what holds this whole thing together. I'm really not interested in pulling the motor completely apart because I can get in there and clean that well enough. But I do want to take this truck the rest of the way apart to get into it. Lots of fuzz. So keepers down under here. This side. That comes out. Axles out. These are the good ones, the sintered iron ones. They offer traction. Oh, these guys come off, sure. They don't have to, but it makes it easier to clean them. One little clip right over here. And then these come apart like this. Now they don't look bad. I can see some oil in them. They got a little sheen. You wouldn't think such a little feller would have so many little parts to it. And I didn't even take this apart over here. Wow. We know the drill. Toothbrush, soap and water, Dawn dish soap. Clean up the bodies. We're going to mineral spirits the frame. Q-tips, clean all the oil off. And then relube it, reassemble it. We'll test the motor in the chassis before we get too carried away and I have to pick it all apart again and fix something because I didn't test it on the bench like a dummy. So we'll get started on that process. The odorless mineral spirits comes with its own serving tray. I haven't said this for a while. Take this, put it on your layout, preferably close to something that just recently got painted. So when you inevitably knock it over, you'll wipe out all your work. Q-tips. And then we're just gonna, wherever, the whole thing, just ick. Some ick coming off. This area here, of course, is where the electrical pickup comes through the chassis from the trucks. So everything just gets wiped down. Just to clean the funk. Scub. Make it yours. Wheels, all this stuff here, around here, everything clean. Where these guys, this metal, that's where the juice flows through at. What's that? These gears that are falling out. Yeah, all of this will get all cleaned up, clean out all grease. Every time you get a new loco, do this to it, then you know the service schedules on it. And I like to turn on the Pandora radio, and I listen to currently I'll be listening to the Ozzy Osbourne channel, which doesn't focus on Ozzy Osbourne music, but it does focus on some of the heavier, you know, not death metal, nothing like that. That's not my cup of tea, but it's odd that Ozzy's now like mainstream, because he freaked the hell out of me when I was just a kid. I'm like, what in Lord's name is that? But he kind of grows on you over 45 years. Take the Q-tip and pull most of the fuzz off of it. Then you can get down inside these brush holders and get this scub out of there. See how filthy? Oh, that's just disgusting. The brushes are sitting here in the motorless mineral spirits, so we can get them clean. Yes. Because the juice is flowing in here. I don't even really know why these things are so filthy, other than perhaps it got over lubricated at this bushing up in here, and that'll do it. Clean all this grease off of this commutator right here. One of these, little paint tray to keep everything organized. Mostly so when you bump the table, everything doesn't roll off into the never land and not to be seen again like that. See? Jesus loves me. These little gears, they don't really have anything on them. Golly. I can't listen to tunes and record at the same time, so I'll be back when this is all cleaned up. Quick fun fact: cow and calf. Why do we call them that? Well, the cow is the one that's got the cab on it, where the guy could sit and operate the thing. The calf does not have a cab on it. They're usually manufactured and they're hooked together with a drawbar. They're made to operate as a pair. Both of them have a prime mover in them. Prime mover. Fancy name for the diesel engine that runs the generator. Why do they got to call them a prime? Everybody's got to have a prime mover. Why don't they honest to God. Now, some cow-calf units can be coupled together, and later on they'd add a cab to a calf and turn it into a cow, and then they had two switchers because they're always building stuff. Now, there's something out there called a mother and a slug. The mother would be like the cow, which is also like the A unit that we're used to right now, the one where the guys sit in at. And the calf is a B unit, but it's powered. Just like all B units, they have their own prime movers. A slug doesn't have its own prime mover in it. It has just got traction motors, and they hook it up electrically to the mother so it can run the extra motors in the slug. Sure. And if you've got a cow and two calves hooked together, because they make those too, then it's called a herd. But these are all just nicknames. The company that made the most amount of cow-calves was Electromotive Division. These are primarily made from the 1930s to the 1950s. They referred to them as TR series for transfer. They were used for just moving quick little things around here and there, and also used in hump yard operations, to send cuts of cars over the thing and they roll down, and hump yards. EMD had designations for these TR transfer series switchers, went from TR up to the TR6. And they stopped producing these things in around 1953, according to this article I'm looking at when in between the cuts. EMD wasn't the only ones that made cow calves. Alco made a few back in the day. Baldwin Locomotive Works, they made a couple of them. And then the UK had some out there built by some of their locomotive works, but they called them master slave units. But what really sent these things into the demise where they didn't want to use them anymore is that these GP7's, they started coming out like that, road switchers. They were big enough to haul a load down the road, but they're small enough to do switching duties. So that's why we don't see switchers like these around anymore. A little bit of interesting information there. Let's kick back into this video. Now we're going to spend some time putting all these back together. I'm going to use the Super Lube multi-purpose synthetic grease. Why is it synthetic? Well, because it doesn't affect plastic components with its petroleum-based lubrication. So what's it made out of? I have no idea. This guy here, these three pins, these gears roll on. So I'm going to give them just a little something, in here. To provide maximum lubrication. And also when you lube these up with oil, then the oil eventually leaks out. Makes a mess out of stuff. Put those together. To put the little keeper on up here to hold this assembly. Put the wheels in. Hardest part is getting the bushings, the blocks, these things right here, all lined up. And now we can apply a little bit of the super lube to all these gears here until they start to make a sheen. Put this bottom keeper on here. There we go. Now I want to try to get a little Earl in these bushing blocks right up here. They're there, here, here. Sure. You see how even this top gear's got a little sheen to it, and we weren't even working on that. Put these truck side frames back on. These can get washed up in the sink with some soap and water to make them shiny and presentable. That truck right there has been serviced. Get your fiberglass pencil out and you can clean up this commutator area right through here. Sure. This is the bottom because you can tell because of the way that looks. So we will put a brush in. These brush springs, I never move them with pliers. I stab a screwdriver through them like this. Because that way you don't compress them, and then that way they don't go zinging across the floor, the room, the house, everywhere. Put this lower brush keeper on. They latch this end first. Do the same on the top. Brush in, spring in. We want a little oil up here. I miss the good old days when they had wicks. They had wicks on them. So I'm going to come in like this and face it, let the gravity maybe pull it in to this area right there, that cavity. Little touch up here. Yep, that sounds good. Get the motor mounts on. So these little tabs right here, right on this frame right here. Some guys talk about putting some conductive grease down in there to help with the flow. I've never done it. I've never had a problem with it. It just works. And that motor, of course, is only going to go in one way. Will I just be able to push those in? Yeah. Sometimes you got to put a little soapy water on those to jam them in there. But these ones, seems like we had success. Let's put a little juice to it. One on the frame and one on the top here. Absolutely. Well, we know that the thing should work. This was the rear truck right here. Because I remembered. So we want to put him back in. See this plate right here? That plate will be riding right there. And that's how it gets half the juice from these two wheels into the frame for ground. And this is the pickup at the top that the other two wheels get. If a guy was so inclined, you could put conductive grease right here on these if you're really, really chasing the dream of having the most amp flow you can possibly humanly get. Are those going to be a little pain and just keep falling off on me all the time? Sure seems like it. Got to put a little bit of CA on it. God, I hate doing that. But we can't be losing side frames when nobody's looking. Bring it in till it clicks and locks. This pin's in. See ya, you dirty rotten. This little feller in through here. It's just got a little ball and clip, which of course does have to be lined up just right. Yep, there we go. Get that little square lined up and the little square on the end of this. Get the bushing blocks lined up square. Give them a little taste. Put just a little bit on this worm of the super lube. Put this gear tower cap on, and there. I don't even know why they give us caps for these things if the caps don't seem to work. What am I supposed to do? I squeeze it, I blow it out, I do everything I can, still get plugs. Ow, that went right in my finger. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Can we get just a touch? Just some. A little bit. There. Some right there. Just some right here. What I'm really hoping for is that you stay on. Stay off my fingers. Will that be enough this time? Probably not. Now I got to disassemble that truck, clean it, lube it, reassemble it, put it in the frame the same way, and then I get a whole nother one that I got to do again to get this whole. So I'll be back after a while. So we got the cow all put together right now, but what is going on here? I believe these are grain of wheat bulbs. Is there things? Are there going to be things in here? Is there going to be diodes? Is there going to be? What am I going to find? There is. I don't even know what to think of this. I mean, it's got them all at the end of the wire. And I don't know enough about it to sit there and say yay or nay. But for a simple DC circuit, this is bringing the power from one of the trucks and it's got to go to these. These are diodes. And they're between this and this. See, to me, they would work if you're using this as a one-way, and then you came in over here and powered up just one of these. See, we got one bulb there and the same bulb there, but they don't have a ground on them anywhere. So in my book, strange. Well, I'll be dipped. They do work. How is that working? Changing directions? Oh, well, I guess I spoke a little too early. I guess I'll have to edit this part out so I don't look like a dumb. So this is the front. That's rolling forward, so there's the front bulb. Yeah, okay. Some guys go really crazy over making sure they've got the right information on what their locomotives are. When Athearn first released these things, they called them an SW-1500. Here's an example of it with a 1500 box. And then later on, they realized that they blew it. And they actually named them the correct thing, which is an SW-7. 1966 seems to be the release when these came out. And according to the interweb, the EMD gave plans to Athearn to use for prototypes to mock up stuff, and they got a hold of a set of plans, SW-7, and they thought it was the SW-1500, and that's why they called it that. The SW-7 was made from 1949 to 1951, and the SW-1500 was made from 1966 to 1974. So I don't know if you release something in 1966, how do you blow it like that? They did the same thing with the DD40X because it apparently never existed. Things happen, I guess, back in the day, and then, you know, we're not perfect. Apparently Athearn introduced the proper looking SW-1500 in 1991. There is questions on how do you identify an SW-7 compared to an SW-1500. So I'm digging through the internet, and I see guys will say, well, the SW-7s have hood handrails and the SW-15s have sill handrails. And wouldn't you know it, that this argument's been going around so long that guys have found pictures and they put them in one little place, and I come by and I stole them and I used them in this video. Here's an SW-7 with hood handrails. Here's an SW-7 with sill handrails. Well, the SW-1500s never had hood handrails. Well, here's an SW-15 with hood handrails, and here's an SW-1500 with sill handrails. So it blew that argument out. And then guys will go, well, the hood, the roofs, they're different. They got a bit of a difference to them. And when I sit back and I look at them and I'm like, you know, Yeah, if you go A, B, A, B, A, B, then you can see them. But then for the most part, you can't. Now, here, after researching all the stuff, and I found this one guy's best way to figure out what they are. The SW-1500, here's a picture right here, and we know that it is because it's painted on the side of what it is. Like, you know, somebody didn't mark it wrong when they uploaded it to the interweb. The radiator grills on the top, they wrap around to the sides, and you can see it up at the top of the hood about this much. And if you got an SW-7, the radiator grills stay more on top of the hood. That seems to make the most sense right there of what it is. And you can tell from a distance. I always like to figure out, don't say, oh, the louver's above the battery box, it's on the auxiliary side. One of them will have 4 sets of louvers and the other one will have 5. You know, those are great for guys that work on them and know where the battery's at. But for just schmoes like me, who just like to play model railroad, I don't do it for a living. It's hard to find definitions like that. That example is actually from a GP7 or a GP9, because I guess the battery box is underneath the fireman. Why they call him a fireman? Because he's not even making fire anymore. It's like, oh, we almost got this 1980s release of an SW-7 ready to run the rails. We should take a look at it. Here's an interesting predicament that we're encountering here. You can see the light and it flickers. And it's got poor performance. And then it gets to jumping up and down, and then it doesn't go. So I'm curious. It has been a while since I've cleaned my track. Give it the old here. And by a while, I mean like a month. But I don't think that's going to be it. I'm going to bet that it's going to be these connectors right here, which really aren't on very well at all. And I think that these wires need to be soldered up there. Why would anybody go through all this effort just for it to be poor? You know, this connection is just, it's silly. But the track needs cleaning anyway, so let's go ahead and do that. What are we going to get now? More of the same. Actually, wait a second. You're really not even on the track very well. You're kind of semi-bound up. Why is that bound up? That truck is sticking up in the air right there. This wire was pulling on that truck, making it too short. Well, oh, she's sputtering. It's a lot better. God, I wouldn't have thought my track was that dirty, but it does get funked up for sure, quickly. Little reverse action here. Let me get that light bulb up. I like when the light bulbs show, because then you could really see when she's losing contact. Well, that is a lot smoother, but I think I still want to solder those wires on. Just because I can. Wires are soldered on. I think we're going to have better performance. And I never get them on the first time. Take two. 5 volts. Oh, yeah, now it ain't. That light bulb, that's how I tell if it's got picking up dirties and stuff. It flashes. And so far, I think any little bug that could have been in it has now been worked out. That is quite nice. Yep, I think we got it. Time to get them bulbs mounted in the body, get the body on, and get the cow, or get the calf done. Well, now after I got the shell on and got all this mounted up in there, one of the lights decided not to work. This is a conniption fit here. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. It's just the dumbest thing. Ooh, let's put directional lights in. Oh, let's make it. God, I just want to play with the train. I don't want to have to mess around. That big bulky pile of junk with all these diodes takes up so much space sitting up there on the top. You can't even get the shell on. This is just I'm done. I'm done. Trucks kept hanging up because the wires were pulled tight. Sometimes guys just do things that just don't make any sense to me at all. Let's make it so it's more harder to run. Wires were rubbing on the flywheels. Jesus. I'm surprised the motor hasn't melted from as many times as I've soldered this dang thing on there. There, I solved that issue. Threw a grain of wheat up in there. Hot glued it in place. Soldered one to the chassis ground. Soldered another one to the hot. Now, we got less of all that junk that's in there. Bet you the shell will just clip right on too. Honest, off camera, I spent 15-20 minutes on and off, trying to get them dang diodes to fit in here. Truck swivel, oh my, yeah. Light even comes on, bonus. But nothing back here when it backs up. Not quite as fancy now, is it? No, but it's functional. So here's how we did the calf. I kind of used that original wire because it didn't have all them diodes in it, but I did solder them onto the top. And then that little copper wire that's over here, and I just put that little jumper in because it was easier. And this one seems to perform better than the cow, which is interesting. But I wonder which one, if they're going to be any, are going to be faster than any of the other ones. Actually, this will be facing this way when it's all said and done. So, what are we going to experience here? Yeah, this is a huge problem right here. Huge. So one runs faster, and then when the frames touch, they short out. Love it. Loving it. Now what do we do? Because they gotta be closer to each other. That's getting better. That's a lot better. Those are pretty equally paired. Must have got, I know they short out. They touch, they short. Now I bet when I put my metal Cadies on and they're coupled up to each other, they won't run at all. Because this one's facing backwards. I guess if it was facing forward, then I wouldn't do it. Yeah, they can touch all day long like that. Shoot. I'm actually kind of glad that that shorting out happened, because it leaves a chance to make an excellent explanation of what's taken place. These are going to be our tracks. And as you know, that they've got a positive, they've got a negative going through them. When you've got one car on the tracks, it's picking up from the wheels that's going to be over here. So this car, the chassis, since it runs the juice through the metal chassis, will be negatively charged on the chassis because it's facing this way. I took that calf and I turned it around, so that's going to put the wheels that are doing the picking up from the track over on this side that's grounded to the frame. So just because they're on the opposite side of the track, it's going to make that car be grounded from these wheels over here because the front of it is actually facing this way. When these two touch, it's of course like it's a dead short out, and that's why you can't use the Katy couplers, because they're metal, and when they're metal and they're hooked up like that, they'll just short out, and that's probably why it had those nasty Bachmann couplers on it. Now none of this would take place if this locomotive was facing the same direction, like if because then their chassis are grounded on both the same sides. So this is the reason why you got to use a non-metallic connection between them if you want to run them backwards if they're powered units like that. Since I don't have plastic Katys here, they do make them. I do have a Tyco drawbar, and it fit in there perfect. I put the two coupler covers on it. These things are now coupled together 100% of the time, and it just works flawlessly. When I was running them together, I wanted to see them move at about the same speed. Initially, the calf was lagging behind, must have, needed a little bit of breaking in or something like that, because then when they start running at the exact same speed, it works out really, really well. If one's really slow and one's really fast, it's gonna create lots of havoc in there. So these two are going to run as a set very well. I've got me some 143 Katy Whiskers short. Thought I had more. Oh, those little springs. Thought I had more than this. I believe these are going to stick out just enough. Yep, because it had like really short couplers in it as it was. So I'm going to put those in and put these little clips on, and it's kind of a hassle because they're buried way down in here. I need to get a cradle to hold these things up, and we'll get it on the track for its final test run. They do got a nice spacing there, close right up in there, and then them close couplers keep that load really close to it. I got these very prototypical silver Virginian coal hoppers here. Yeah. And somebody's off the track. Oh. And my switch regulator automatically put it back on for me. But yeah, this came out really nice. Really nice. I need a different road name though. Wish I had a brighter bulb in it. I broke those other ones, Here I was thinking, these are really good looking switchers. I need to get a set in Union Pacific because that's what I like to model. And then I forgot that in here, I've actually got one. It's been stashed away so long that I didn't even know I had it. Because that's a downside when you got too much stuff. Well, that cow-calf pair came out nice. Fought me a little bit. Kind of lost my cool some. But yeah, it never hit the wall or the floor. So this is a great revival. It really is. This has been a really good week and a great weekend. Right now it's Sunday, 3:40. Just finishing up this video. Yesterday morning I woke up to find out the channel just hit 14,000 subscribers. That was exciting to see. And I'm really happy because my recent video that I dedicated to my dad on the Copper Queen, currently it's got 11,500 times that it's been viewed in 6 days. So for me and my channel, that's a lot. Now I've had 2 or 3 videos that went really fast, and the EMD DD40, the Lionel F3, and I bought an estate. Those ones went hard. And the other 136, not so much. What you guys can do to really help this, and you probably hear it all the time, when you hit the thumbs up button or you leave a comment, it tells the algorithm that people are interacting with this video instead of just like somebody just puts it on loop and it just, you know, that's no good. It shows that real people are watching it, and then they advertise it to more people that could potentially watch my programs. So if you guys could find it in your heart when you watch these videos, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. It's common for most channels to have 60% of their views coming from unsubscribed watchers. That would just be huge, because I'm in this transitional thing. I'm going to double down on my efforts. Coming up here in this fall and this winter, I'm going to try to get 2 videos out a week. Normally, I put a video out. The normal time is Monday mornings at 10 a.m. because I spend all weekend working on them. And then once I get done with the season, RV fixing, we are going to try to double down and get another one to come out Thursday sometime. Thursday evening. Something quick I can knock out in a day. Next spring, I'd like to see if I can stop having to break my back and break wear myself out fixing stuff for people. And maybe I can make a living doing this. That'd be great. And I can do it with your guys' help. I come to you humbly. Thank you so much for all your support I've received in the past. Thank you for all your future support. Thank you to the 33%ers that are hanging out with me to the end of this video. Love you. Have a good one. See you next week. Bye-bye.